Welcome everyone, StealthyShiroean here, and today I'm bringing you my review of SCP Secret Files. GameZoo Studios developed this game with Pixvane as the publisher and released it in September 2022. For any of my humble choice viewers, you would have received this game in the November 2023 bundle. SCP Secret Files is a neat, sort of horror anthology experiment where it tells different tales and executes them all slightly differently. The gameplay may be lacking, but I can't deny that it was an interesting play from start to finish. As mentioned, the game has a different presentation for each story, so graphics can vary wildly, such as the first story using cel shading, but the last one having a blocky top-down retro vibe. Each of the styles were okay and did the job. I think the most notable was the children's storybook style used in the third chapter. I really liked the blend of colors in that one and how vibrant it was, which set itself apart from the others, although there were a few set pieces in other stories that stood out. As far as audio goes, I honestly can't recall any specific song from the game's soundtrack, so it's not bad, but nothing notable. Sound design seemed fine in most parts except for that annoying beep in the first story from the metal detector. Finally, I thought the voice acting was hit or miss. The boy's dialogue in the storybook tale was especially bad because his audio quality didn't sound anywhere close to the other voice actors used throughout the game. Basically, everything was passable, but that's about it. Before going into talking about the story of the game, I want to clear up what exactly SCP even is. In the real world, it's a collection of writings by people all over the world who create short stories about a fictitious secret research institute known as the SCP Foundation. SCP meaning secure, contain, and protect. These stories have spawned a huge community of writers who create the stories like if they're presented scientific documents talking about research and observation notes on the dreaded SCPs, which can be some sort of supernatural thing in the form of an object, person, or even an entire place. Anyway, in this game you're Carl, a new hire at the SCP Foundation and a rookie who doesn't know what he's getting himself into. Each new story that plays out is another file that he catalogs or learns about in his journey as an SCP archivist. There's 5 stories in all, and as with the presentation, each of them vary in length, writing, and overall quality. I don't really want to go into too much detail on the different stories because I think it was the unknown going into each story that compelled me to keep playing. What I will say is that each of these stories were interesting and at times even chilling. However, all the stories were way too short to really get me invested in any of them before I was jumping into the next. And before you know it, the game itself is over, leaving a cliffhanger ending for the game. This is really unfortunate because the dev studio is no longer around anymore, so the planned DLC and any potential sequels probably will never see the light of day. Although, despite this, the anthology-like nature of the stories make this a minor annoyance since the SCP case files themselves can all be enjoyed without needing any prior knowledge of anything, and also have the comfort of knowing it's all a confined story with beginning, middle, and end. Where SCP Secret Files really lacks is in the gameplay department. Although each story is different, with a different execution in storytelling and presentation, the gameplay largely remains the same. There's very little in way of any meaningful gameplay other than walking and occasionally interacting with stuff. Essentially, they're walking simulators. Some of the more horror-focused stories do have some chase sequences, but it's nothing that well thought out compared to other games in this genre. Similarly, some of them do have puzzles or mini-games, but they were all simple and few and far between. Although I will say, I never thought I'd be playing a Flappy Bird's minigame in a horror title. There are notes to collect in a couple of these stories which tell a little bit more, but unless you're really invested in the lore, then these are just superfluous. Nothing throughout this game is remotely challenging or has any degree of depth. Instead, you're playing it because of the narrative and the compulsion to continue to see what new horrific story will play out. And that brings us to the value and my final thoughts. But first, if you're enjoying the review or found it helpful, then please consider giving it a like as that helps me out greatly with the YouTube algorithm gods. SCP Secret Files runs at about $14.99 USD, and I put a little over 4 hours into one playthrough with it. With the ending it had, I was really surprised to find that this was it. Given that each story is a linear experience, there really is no replayability factor other than to replay the stories. I'd only recommend this on a deep sale. Nothing about the game was really bad, but nothing was exceptional either. The gameplay was lacking considerably in that it just didn't exist. Storytelling was okay, and partially due to their design, the aesthetics could vary wildly in levels of polish. It was a good effort to try something different, but I wouldn't recommend it at anything less than 50% off unless you're a die-hard fan of SCP. And those are my thoughts on SCP Secret Files. If you played the game, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't, then let me know if it sounds like something you'd be interested in, or if you have any other questions. I hope this video helped you in some small way, and if it did, then please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, or whatever it is you feel like doing. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.